Good morning again. Happy New Year. Again, wonderful to be back with you all here. And even more wonderful that I get to announce that we have all received a great gift. Someone has promised to supply everyone here today at the barn, everyone at home, online today. Someone has promised a great gift to all of us. Everyone will receive, get this, a lifetime and unlimited supply of fuel. Yes. Oh, I thought there'd be a much bigger reaction than that. What a wonderful and amazing gift. I mean, can you believe it? A lifetime, unlimited supply of fuel. Come on. All right, that's enough. Because I should probably clarify. We've been given this amazing lifetime unlimited gift of fuel, but it's not the kind of fuel that we use to run our furnaces or stoves or our cars. I'm sorry, you still have to pay for all of that, all right? The fuel we've been given is better, though, than any of that. And I know that may be a hard sell considering how cold the winter's been despite the recent warm-up. But really, the fuel I'm talking about is better. It is. Because you see, the gift of fuel that we have received is the fuel of the waters of baptism. The waters that forever connect us to Jesus and to each other and keep us forever moving forward together, empowering us, His community of believers, better known perhaps as the church. We, the church, find ourselves again today in what is called the season of Epiphany. This began, of course, just this week with the feast day of the Epiphany, celebrated January 6th. It's the day we remember the visit of the Magi to the Christ child, and they're bringing him their gifts, and they're going home in another way after being warned by a dream. We know their beautiful story. And in the weeks which follow, we, like those wise guys, we continue to seek him out, to follow his light, with the hope of knowing that in finding him, we will be led again and again into new discoveries of faith through our life in him. And so today we enter into a new sermon series, into a new way of thinking about things and discovering and coming to the scriptures together as we invite us all to engage in a season of epiphanies, opening our hearts, opening our minds, indeed, and opening our whole lives to Christ and to where and how and who we discover him to be in our lives. And this season of epiphany always start with a focus on baptism, Jesus' baptism, and subsequently our own. So today we heard two scriptures. One, our gospel reading from Matthew, which takes us deep into the waters of baptism with Jesus. The other from the prophet Isaiah, a reading known as a servant song. A song which, if you use your imagination, you can almost hear playing as Jesus emerges from the waters of the Jordan, enlightened and inspired and fully fueled in his mission as God's Son and our Messiah. So today I just want us to look more deeply at these readings, first separately, and then we'll take them together and we'll ask, how do the waters of baptism fuel our call to be servants of God, working toward peace and love and justice for all? Just a little warning, I'm going to take us on a little bit of a ride here, but that's okay, because we have plenty of fuel. Okay? Let's start with Isaiah 42, which, as I said, is really a beautiful, lyrical, poetic song. It's known as the first of 4 servant songs found in Isaiah's writings. And this first one describes the work of a servant, one to come, one who will be completely devoted to God and to the work God calls him to do. And that is to faithfully, quietly, diligently, consistently, and powerfully work toward justice for all people. Justice is a powerful word in the Hebrew Bible. And biblical justice is about equality for all. And it is deeply connected to the word righteousness, which we also heard in that passage. And the meaning of righteousness is it's the right intentions that God has for all of God's creation. Biblical justice then has at its focus the destitute and the poor, the ones on the margins, the ones without enough. It is, as one author puts it, focused on those on the margins, people who stand at the edges of communities in need of care that they often do not receive because they are so easily overlooked. The servant of Isaiah's song, then, is one who sees these overlooked people and works tirelessly to assure that their needs are met. And not only that, but this servant also works to assure that the eyes of the blind are opened. That is, that not only he, but others see those in need and join in the work of setting them free from their prisons of injustice and inequality, fear and poverty. So you see, this servant which Isaiah speaks about, whom he sings about, he's not working alone. This song is not about one person, but for the many who have faith and believe that new life is possible for all people. That the way God created life to be is and can be a reality when believers serve God together as lights to the nations, as the song says. Now, at this point, perhaps you're thinking, but isn't this song about Jesus? Good question. I'm glad you asked. As we've seen today, we know that the early Christian church looked back. They found in the prophets and in Isaiah in particular, they saw a foretelling of the coming of Jesus. And yes, they and we continue to hear and see Jesus as the servant in this song. But to only see this misses the deeper point, which is not to be missed. Isaiah's servant is not one person, but a people. The servant is the community of believers, with every member called together to be a light to the nation and to work for justice for all. That is the call for all the people of God throughout history and in all times. This was Isaiah's call to the Israelites to whom he first writes. This is the call to every child of God, to every member of the church of Jesus Christ. And my friends, no one wants us to get this more than Jesus. Jesus, who we meet here in the waters of the Jordan, looking forward to his baptism. But not before his interaction with John the Baptist, who questions him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me? And Jesus replies, let it be so now, for it is proper for us to do this to fulfill all righteousness. I've wrestled with this passage over time. I've come to believe what Jesus is saying to John is this: sure, I could baptize you. I can do it all. But then, what would you do? No, John, I'll do my part and you do yours. And then together we will work with God for God's right intentions for all creation. That is, we will work together, work to assure justice on earth as it is in heaven. And then down into the water he goes, and as we said, then he emerges enlightened and inspired and fully fueled by the water for his mission to serve as God's Son and our Messiah, ready to go and call others to join him in the work of establishing justice and righteousness for all. How then do the waters of baptism fuel our call to be God's servants, working for justice? Is it not proper, after all, for us to do this so that we may help fulfill all righteousness? Look, friends, it seems like a tall order, I know, especially in a world where so much injustice seems to prevail, especially here in our country where just this last week, in the case of Renee Good's death, we see just one example, one more tragic example of how quickly we can fall into violent chaos and lose focus and get off track, while God's justice and righteousness seems to escape us. If you're like me, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling exhausted, and if you're like me and you're honest, I'm feeling a bit enraged. I'm feeling like the psalmists who faithfully lament again and again, crying out, why? How long, Lord, before your true justice and your true righteousness is felt and lived and experienced in all people? If you're like me, you're feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and if you're honest, and I'll be a bit enraged. And if you're like me and you're feeling any of this, you may also be wondering, God, what can we do? What impact might we hope to have? And as I was feeling all of this and more this week, again, I was praying, and as God often has a way of doing, kind of just led me to a poem by an Irish Indian poet named Nikita Gill. And she writes, "The rage you are feeling comes from the same place inside your heart as the love. This is why you refuse to accept a world where cruelty reigns and fire consumes all. You have known hope and joy and kindness like you have known water. And justice is a river that demands you do not give up on it. You have known hope and joy and kindness like you have known water, and justice is a river that demands you do not give up on it." I was reminded, I offer it as a reminder to us to not give up or give in, and a great reminder of the rivers of baptism. The river where Jesus meets us, the muddy, dirty water of the Jordan in which Jesus got down into it with us and for us. Jesus who never gives up on us. Jesus whose own mission to work for justice and righteousness was and is and will forever be drenched in love. The same very mission into which Jesus calls us to join him. And so we take a deep breath and we jump in and we feed the hungry and we give drink to the thirsty and we clothe the cold and naked and we welcome the stranger and we love the neighbor and we stand up and we take a stand and say no to injustice everywhere. Because as we know the phrase, I hope, Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, right? We take a deep breath, we jump in, and we follow him. And we strive to live lives that emulate him. Lives of compassion, mercy, and sacrifice. Lives of prayer and generosity and thinking, hopefully once, maybe even twice before speaking, before acting. Choosing our words, choosing our actions carefully, hoping to assure that all we say and do has the best interest of others in mind, others in whom we are called to see and serve Christ. In other words, we are to take a breath and jump in and say yes to his love. By doing so, we take part in his ongoing work of justice. And when we're overwhelmed and enraged and drained, we may draw strength and focus and courage from the rivers of baptism and from the one who gets down in it with us. Amen.